Hello, everyone, Marvel Plus fans. Today, we're gonna discuss today about a special and spectacular podcast. Is Miss Marvel gonna be a mutant? Is Love and Thunder, Thor a joke? We're gonna discuss that all today. Anyway, hello. Anyway, hello everyone. My name is Andres Diaz. Me and Will are back again for another spectacular Marvel Plus talk. Will, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I'm getting too old for this. Well, I'm old, but I'm just in this young body. Just like Wolverine. Um. Anyway, so let's run through what we're going to do today. Of course, this week is the series finale of Miss Marvel, episode 6. We're going to discuss that, and of course, the heavy imitation that I kind of alluded to, especially mentioning Wolverine. And of course, we're going to have the spoiled cast of Thor, Love and Thunder, and we'll get into that crazy film. Anyway, so let's just kind of jump into Miss Marvel. You want to do that, Will? Just jump into Miss Marvel.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, sure. So let's just kind of get into your general thoughts. What you thought about episode 6? Did it deliver or it didn't? Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot stronger than the few episodes before it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, everything that I wasn't, like, crazy about in the episode was really stuff from, like, the previous episodes just being, like, tied together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I thought it was good. I thought it like, wrapped everything up nicely. And yeah, I liked seeing more of Kamala's powers in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, and it left a few threads to follow up in the future. So yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. Same here. I thought this was a better episode over episode 5. And I think you and I actually got it right, but they kind of mix it. So, like, Carmen, right? Or Kamon?
Kamran, yeah.
Was like somewhat the main antagonist. And then we got a little bit of Miss Marvel, like being the superhero with her costume, all jammed into this one spectacular, really action-packed episode. I think this is like the most spectacle episode of the series, and and I felt like it really delivered that. Now, that saying that, I think it has flaws. And has a lot of weird, just like, wow, they actually did it. But it was funny. Like, it was funny seeing, what is it, Zoe, the high school, like mean girl or whatever, just randomly came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Just no, like, foreshadowing or anything. Just like, oh, we like this character, so she's here now.
Yeah.
And then they did it again with the brother.
Well, at least the brother, it makes sense than her. Like,
it did make more sense with the brother, but it was still like he appeared. I don't know. Yeah, like the escape from the school thing was like fun, but none of it made sense.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It was so funny. I mean, I love how the brother say, like, I went to the school, so I know how to get in there. I was just laughing so hard for that. I was like, oh my
but
god.
Like, if he could get in without getting caught by damage control, you'd think they'd be able to get out the same way, Which, like, I think that is the way that they got out. Like, they went in the bathroom window, but I don't understand why they had to sneak around to get him there. Like, just
Yeah.
go before they show up. Like, go immediately after your brother came and was like, "Oh, by the way, there's a secret exit."
Yeah. I I know it's so leap logic.
Yeah,
I just I can't
it
believe
felt
that.
very much like, "Oh no, we need a second act."
Yeah. Oh my god. I I just can't believe it. Okay, let's speaking of the brother, I will say I I I love that we continue with the family aspect,
Hmm.
and I actually really love the scene where
Yeah,
Kamala was going to tell the secret identity, and
and they
he's like,
all they all knew.
yes, and it's
Oh,
like, oh no, really? And then and the mom just and oh my god, that was the most funny scene ever.
yeah,
I fell in love with this episode of that, and it's directly from the comic, which was cool, and it was just fun. Oh my god.
yeah.
And but it was very important that I really appreciate this family really like being supportive of her
Hmm.
superhero.
Yeah,
I I don't think we seen that in like besides was it Martha and Jonathan Kent to Superman, like this was like that, and I
hmm,
really appreciate that.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and getting to the scene with Miss Marvel getting her costume was like, oh, such a beautiful scene. I really
yeah.
love her
Hmm.
mom just like giving to her, and it it was one of the best like just giving a superhero costume in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just great. Um, I guess we'll kind of I guess get into like damage control. I I I will say I want to get into this because of this thing that we got with Kamala now. I think I feel better with damage control now because I think they're maybe heading to this direction of maybe they will be this like says the no like kind of like the mutant,
The anti-mutant
yeah,
task
like
force.
task force, right? Like because the lady whoever that agent was named, like she really
Mm.
had like she reminded me of like the One Division villain, the human one, Hayward.
Yeah.
Like I I I think setting that up with damage control, like it makes more sense now, and I can see like Sentinels being created in this like organization, and then and like we can see Trax or whoever is going to be developer of Sentinels in this MCU. Kind
Yeah. I guess I could see that. It still feels weird for it to be damage control of all things. To be
I
like
know,
the new militaristic, like law enforcement agency. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah, it's weird, but I, I mean, it's them. Um, I guess was let's get into like the big reveal because I don't want to hold up too much of that because there's like two big ones.
mm-hmm.
Of course, when was it? I think it was Wednesday when I was waking up and I saw an article for IGN and they brought up the X-Men theme in
Mm-hmm.
their articles, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then when I saw the episode, and then of course Bruno saying you have a mutation, and they did the X-Men
Mm-hmm.
90s cartoon theme. It was like, oh my god. And yeah, so Kamala, I mean, is our first mutant to see in MCU. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
besides Professor X, but I want to get into your thoughts, Will. Are you happy with this reveal? Um, do you now sort of accept the change they did or not? Like, go ahead. What's your thought on this reveal?
I mean, I really like the Inhumans. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I
so
know.
I like. There's a part of me that's just sad that they took that away. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have like strong feelings one way or the other about it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I, I mean, I can understand why. I, I feel like this could have been how she could have been in the comics if we didn't have that stupid rival.
Right.
That
Yeah.
you,
If
you know what I mean?
if they weren't really pushing to like get rid of any characters that Marvel Studios didn't have the rights to at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like Kamala could have been a mutant, and
yeah. The mutants and the Inhumans really are like functionally interchangeable.
yes.
So it does make sense. Like it doesn't really matter for her background.
Yeah, that's true. I guess so when that happened, I was like, oh, cool. But then I was like, well, I predicted last week that she was going to get her powers just like the Clinton's boy, and it didn't. She still had the bangle, which makes sense because of the post-credit scene we had.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, so are we going to just slowly give her, like, she's going to slowly develop her mutant abilities in the next, in the Marvels or whatever, we're going to see her again, and after the Marvels, like, I'm kind of curious where they're going with this, with her character.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, so I think I remember, I don't think I say this, that I thought if they were going to do something with Kamala with the change of powers, like, it made sense. And now seeing what they were doing, well, both her and also the tie-in to the Marvels, I will say I'm a bit more acceptable of the changes they did. And one day I will say that one of the big problems with the MCU is the adaptation of comic book material,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like this show actually handled it better than some of the other MCU properties. Like, let me just get into Iron Man 3. You and I like Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it more what Shane Black was doing with the Mandarin, right? But at the same time, I can see the argument that we were robbed of, Iron Man's Joker into this, like, not like, joke, I guess, if you want to review that. And or like something like Age of Ultron with the Natasha and Banner relationship, or Captain Marvel's origin change to like the Infinity Stone of space giving her powers. I think this was the most acceptable change, and it made sense in the narrative of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something Marvel struggles sometimes, and I think this, like, completely nailed to the ground, or like they nail it right away, and I think it's actually good. No matter if we really like the Inhumans and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and just I think this was an acceptable change from the comics, because they didn't change the characters. I was very shocked. It was like the characters came from the comics. It's just they're different from the comics in terms of their, like, power set and all that. So it was good. But yeah, so we're still following, Bruno, and so let's get into some of the other block points. I was very happy to see I was very happy that we got the aesthetic from the first the first 3 episodes back, having that, like, cartoon drawing back again, like when Kamala was, like, forming the plan with the friend and the brother and the school. And and just in general, this movie, this episode had, like, such a good pace and rhythm that I think was lacking in the first 2 episodes, I think.
Yes. It felt a lot more natural than, at the very least, episodes 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There were no, like, jarring moments where it felt like we were jumping between different, like, storylines and tones.
Yes.
It felt very cohesive, which was good.
Yeah. And I will say, great funny moments. I mean, just like when the damage control evil woman went back to the what was it, their church, their secret, not secret, like their church, their own church.
What?
Their own church. What was it?
Wait, did she go to the mosque in this episode?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all blurring together now that it's been a few days.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's this where like everyone put their IDs again.
Right.
Like
Yeah. Yeah, that was
that.
good.
Yeah, that was so. I mean, they know like they've been accused so many times. But, oh,
Yeah, they've
we're
been
like
profiled so much.
yeah, and I love how they use it as a funny scene, and just like everyone pull out their IDs, and like someone had like cookies, like they had sweets. It was oh my god, it was so hilarious. I was just oh man, I just love this I guess like ambassador that's running that place. Like he's one of my favorite characters in the show. I think he really shines. Like I like his talk with Kamala in episode 2. Here I like how he tells common right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't mean you should be being targeted. You're still our people, like I like his speech towards him, and it's like we'll help you, no matter what you did,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
love that character.
yeah, I think he just completely, and I love his TikTok message is like, oh, hey, we're gonna party, bring pizzas and all that, and but it has to be in their culturally matter, and oh my god, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was so funny. It was just hilarious. And oh yeah, and then we got Kamala's friend back here. I really like her here, and I love her fake out with the damage control of like, oh, this is my boyfriend or my parents. Like that was funny. I really dug that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really fun. And then of course Kamala get Bruno and that other boy, and yeah, then they tried. They go to the school, and then this is where we get into more the action, and then some of the flaw of the episode. We mentioned like apparently she always does her TikTok in school, like after night. I'm like, okay,
So there's something with the lighting being better, I think.
yeah, I don't like okay, and I did appreciate her like helping out, and I think she had a very good like thematic with some of the characters.
Yeah, it just didn't feel earned.
Yeah,
Yeah, it felt like it came out of nowhere.
yeah. I hope she comes back, and
Yeah, I'm sure she will. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope we develop her more. Yeah, it was just great. But it was. I mean, I let it go because I was like, I was happy we just did more character moments and just having fun, which I mean we didn't lose it in the other 2 episodes, but like I really enjoy more of this high school setting than the glow chopping one that we got in the first 2 episodes, or the last 2 episodes. I'm sorry. Yeah, and then we got the like damage control team invading the school, and it was really cool to see everyone using their like minds, and like I just laugh how the damage control gets beaten by kids and then one adult. I will say the funny moments when Kamala's brother say nothing can stop us, and then in the back you see other damage control team closing up to them, and then they get arrested.
Yeah,
that was a funny moment. That was so funny. So I think it was pretty cool moment there. And then I think we'll get into like the flaw of the series, and I will say that I appreciate Carmen, Carmen like development in this episode and where we go with it, with him going with the red daggers and all that. I just do feel him and the like side villains that we have in the show was just very disappointing.
Yeah.
And I I feel like we needed a very clear antagonist for Kamala to face.
Yeah.
I just feel like, and I will say this, him like having it's from the comics, but like I feel like having crystal powers, like it was like a light show finale, and I was like, ooh, like some of the CGI was very rough, and I don't know if you've been hearing about the complaint about the VFX team from Hollywood. They've been saying that they've been overworked with the Marvel stuff that's been going on Phase 4, and which we're going to get into with Thor and Love and Thunder. But I feel like this wasn't bad as Love and Thunder, but I think it's kind of showing here, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I appreciate that we use Kamala using her powers. Like, I wasn't expecting to see her have these kind of the strike powers, but in crystal forms. It reminded me of Pixels, the mutant character that forms like a astral projection armor in the X-Men comics. It reminded me a lot of that character in the X-Men. I don't know if they were inspired by that and then like use it for Kamala's powers in this show. So that could be another hint for X-Men. But
yeah, could be. Yeah. No, I really liked that they still figured out a way to give her the like stretchy body powers, or some of them. I thought it looked good when she was like on her, like, when she was like tall and like made her limbs longer.
Yeah, and
and she said the thing.
Oh yeah, what was it? I know embiggened. I was so happy they did that. I was like, oh my god, that was from the comics, and that was a thing I was going to bring up just now, and then thank you. Oh my god, I was so happy, and I will say I was so happy that we are making her be like a friendly neighborhood hero, and like I really love the scene of the community of Jersey City, like protecting her and all that. Like that was so a wonderful scene.
Yeah,
and just protecting her and just I never. It was one of those like very sincere scenes that I feel like the show did so well. And I guess it's funny that the guy, like, it was funny. There's another funny scene, like the damaged coat guy we saw in No Way Home, like telling her to pull back, and she avoided him, and then she fired him later on. It was this like very incompetent department, I would say, for damage control.
Yeah.
So I guess we got like a quick update from the Incredible Hulk. That Sonic thing we saw in the Incredible Hulk, that was cool to see. Yeah. So and so the finale was there, and then then what else happened towards the end? I will say I will say I was it was something I was kind of curious about, was the name for Miss Marvel, and I really love that they connected to Kamala's name. Like I really love that, and I think that was the most clever way to like give her the name Miss Marvel, because without contrive it in some way. I really like that it was part of her name.
Yeah. Was that from the comics? Because like I'd imagine that would still be true.
No.
That had to, like, if that really is what the name Kamala means, that has to be like a thing that they planned.
Oh, okay. I'm saying the superhero name, Miss Marvel. Like, I like how it's more. In the comics, like how is in the comics, it's like different. In the comics they didn't do that with Kamala's name. In the comics, of course, Carol was first Miss Marvel, and everyone knows that.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if Kamala does mean Marvel, like if it can be translated as Marvel, then the writers had to have planned that when they were naming her initially.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, yes. I think it could be there. But if they did, I think that was really smart move because that was something I was kind of curious because Carol was first started as Captain Marvel in this universe, and so I was kind of like, well, how the heck they're gonna do the Miss Marvel name? And here it just made a lot of more sense for me. And I want to say, it was really great to see the father again. We saw little of him, but I think he was another character I really liked in the show, and I just love his interaction with Miss Marvel in the end of the episode, and it was great to see like great father figures in the show.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of bad ones in the MCU.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah, exactly. And I just love that, and it was such a touching moment, and I just love it. It was just he was great. I hope we see more of him in the nearest future, and I think him and the mom is going back in the Marvels.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Yeah. So and then we get like the title of this episode is named No Normal. That's the first volume of Miss Marvel. So it was great that they went back to the naming of the title of the comic.
Yeah.
And they recreated the lamp cover from the comics, and I really dug that. It was
me
great.
too.
So but yeah, so that was the end of the episode, and now we'll discuss into the post-credit scene. And I wouldn't say what you thought about the post-credit scene, Will. Do you like it or don't like it?
Yeah, it was all right. I don't know. I figured that Captain Marvel would show up like in some capacity at the end.
Yeah.
How it happened was surprising.
Yeah. Were you confused at first?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm confused. I'm also just confused from like so in the movie, are they gonna like
search for Kamala?
Yeah, or like I hope they aren't like just starting there, because that'd be a weird place to start the movie, especially for people that haven't seen Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not sure like how that's gonna fit in. But
I think let me get to your question before let me bring up the confusion I'm mentioning. It was so funny when that happened. I thought that Kamala shapeshift, and I was like, oh, they actually did that. But then I was like, it was weird because the bangle like was shiny, and so I was like, okay, what was going on? And then it just listening to other videos and their like theories, it just leaned more that was actually Carol in that room. The bangle somehow just switched where Kamala was now to the place where Miss Carol was at, and I was like, what? I mean, okay, and just the way, because when Carol was in the room, she said no, how Kamala say it as well, but then it was just wasn't enough, and I just feel like that was Carol in that scene just bratting, oh no, I'm in Earth, and who took her place and whatever she was at that could be dangerous,
Yeah.
So I could see like what movie that did it, like a Deadpool situation where you got like a full sequence of what Carol's been up to, and then maybe the halfway point she found the bangles, which now confirms my theory that we are going to do the Kree bangles or whatever the bangles is. Because I remember that there's the other bangle that Kamala's great grandmother hide it from the contestants, and did Carol find that other bangle as well, and then in this movie we're gonna see her finding it, and then it activated because of Kamala's just had it recently. So
Right.
so we probably do an interconnected storyline within the Marvels to catch up to where we saw in the post-credit scene, maybe. So we'll see. But I hope it's that than just being very comfy with the film plot. So yeah, and then hopefully it ties into the 10 Rings too. So yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed the post credit scene. It was I think this is the most talked post credit scene we have in a while, because I would say the post credit scenes as of late has been very weak. I mean, except for Shang-Chi, I think that's the only time I really enjoyed the post credit scenes. But yeah, so well, Love and Thunder had the other best one, I guess. So, but yeah, so let's wrap up the series, and let me go first. I will say I really enjoyed the show. I think it was very fun. It was one of the most inspirational superhero shows we had so far. I think this is the best since Iron Man having a great lead. I think the actress that played Kamala Khan really just was so affectionate. She really loved the character, and she was she's one of my favorite stars in the MCU now. And I'm very excited to see her again in the Marvels and see her interaction with Monica and Carol. And I'm just really excited for her future in the MCU. The downside of the show, I would say, look upon it, I think the villains' development and just the overall package of them was very weak. I think because that everything was underdeveloped and just never had time to really be interesting and fascinating as some of the other MCU villains we had. So I think that was the weak part of the show. I think it should have been more of just a grounded show, like Spider-Man: Homecoming with one villain, and I think that could have been a great recipe. Will, go ahead. What's your thoughts for this whole series?
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought the cast, especially like the family and Kamala and Bruno, I thought they were great.
Yeah.
I thought the villains were weak.
Oh yeah.
And I agree that it would have been better to have like a more grounded, like street level story that was like fully just set in Jersey City, to get that like Spider-Man feel. Could have made it better, lean more into the like family drama of it. And like give her more time to like do some superhero stuff. I thought that the like stylistic things from the first episode were really strong.
Yes.
And I would have loved if they'd continued that the whole time. So it was disappointing that they kind of like dropped that like midway through episode 2. But I just, man, the first episode of this show was so good, and then it became kind of mid. But I'm excited still to like see more from this character in the future.
I also wish I think hopefully by She-Hulk, I hope She-Hulk can exceed, and because I think the Disney Plus shows need to realize they need to give more episode for these creators. I don't think the 6-episode thing isn't working for them, because like episode 4 and 5 really dropped the pace and just stopped the emotion of the story we were following, and I just don't think it worked. I mean, certain shows pull it off fine, but then it just really dragged, and I think we need to put more emphasis of, okay, it's fine to have 8 or 10 episodes to use, or 9, like She-Hulk was doing, to have more time with the characters. Because, like, there were so many characters I wanted to see more than the others. Like, I want to see Bruno, the family, like the father more, and So a bit more, if you were going to put her in the family, the superhero team friends.
Yeah.
So I feel like we need more episodes, and I hope that Disney Plus, like whoever's running Disney and all that, like they need to realize they need to change this up.
Yeah, they either need more episodes or fewer episodes where they just have fewer like plot elements.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now it feels like they're introducing too many things without having enough screen time to actually explore them.
Yeah. Yeah, and the movies too. They're doing it as well. Like,
yes.
Like, oh my god, it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I've been pretty disappointed with Phase 4 so far.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I just like Shang-Chi is like what I think Marvel should follow in terms of their format.
Yeah, which is
just
it is like probably the most formulaic of the movies that have come out so far, and I know that I often complain about the Marvel formula, but they're really like it really is the best one that they've done in Phase 4.
It's
like that and Spider-Man, which is also another like Marvel formula one.
Yeah,
but you know, if it works and you do it well, it's fine. It's just when you like rely too heavily on the formulaic bits, or I don't know. Like I like when every time they've like really strayed from the formula, they haven't done anything good outside of, you know, like being different from the formula is good, but if you aren't doing something that is like different doesn't mean better quality. It just means different, and sometimes like every different thing that they've tried has been worse than the formula.
It's quantity over quality right now with Phase 4,
which sucks.
Yeah, and I don't feel that way with the Disney Plus shows, but the movies I do, because it's like at least the TV shows, they can be more creative in each episode, and like how to tell their story. You know, like no matter how weak they are, you know, like I have my problems with Miss Marvel, but like I actually enjoyed the show, and they had time to develop the characters, and like they fully developed Kamala as a character, which I like. Whereas something like Doctor Strange, like the characters that have the most interesting arc is not Doctor Strange, and that's so not good. And I think this would be a good transition. You want to talk to Thor and Love and Thunder right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So like so getting into the problem Phase 4 and the character development, I would say, was Thor: Love and Thunder your most anticipated films of 2022?
Let's see what else is coming.
Black Panther, Black Adam, the League of Super Pets.
Maybe for superhero movies, it was my most anticipated.
Okay. My number one was Batman. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'll end up being my favorite one of 2022.
Oh yes, definitely.
We'll see. Maybe Black Panther will be better than I'm expecting it to be.
Yeah. Oh, I can trust Ryan Coogler now. I mean,
it's not him that I'm worried about. It's just like
Yeah.
Boseman's death really threw them for a loop, and I don't know if they're going to be able to stick the landing.
Yeah. I can see why. I could trust him. Like,
yeah, I'm sure it'll be watchable.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's gonna like hit the highs of the first movie. But
no, I don't.
Yeah,
think
I feel like it's gonna feel awkward. Like there's gonna be a very clear Chadwick Boseman shaped hole in the movie.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. And I hope we get something from Comic-Con this week.
Yeah, that's Saturday, right?
Yes. So I was gonna say this, but I can tell now that I think our next podcast will just be discussing the Marvel news and Comic-Con, and discuss our favorites and what we're kind of hoping Comic-Con should reveal. So because we know that Marvel is coming back in San Diego Comic-Con, which is great, and the last movie we have from MCU is Black Panther. So let's get into general thoughts. What you thought about Thor: Love and Thunder? Will you liked it? You didn't like it? Where you stand so far with this film?
It was pretty middling. It was fun, like I left the theater and I was like, oh, that was a good time. But I don't think it was a good movie.
Oh no! Oh god!
There were a lot of problems. There was a lot of stuff that I liked too, but there were a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I would probably put it at like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
But like a low 6.
Whoa. I don't think it's that low after 6. I think it's 6 out of 10. I appreciate what they were trying to do. I feel like they went too far in this one direction that I think will completely divide people and will bring their pitchforks and hurt people. I will say this is, I think, the most hard. Will give you the argument of the MCU humor and
God, yeah, God, the humor was too much and not great.
Yeah, I guess I just feel like the humor was just. I will say it. I don't know. Like I didn't. So the jokes landed for me. It was just the
a lot of. Yeah, sorry.
No. Like I very quickly the comedy stuff. I didn't care. Really, I didn't like that. My big issue is not the humor. My biggest problem is the underdevelopment of certain characters. That was my biggest problem, and I was very disappointed not to see Valkyrie being more developed. And I'm quite concerned where Thor is at now. I just wish we just focus on more character development than just jokes. I feel like
in Taika's other movies, he's so good at that, and then this one just I don't know.
You think it went into Batman and Robin level? People are excited.
I don't know. I just felt like he got too confident. I don't know. He felt too comfortable making jokes of things. And I don't know.
I
don't know. A lot of the humor didn't work for me. And it's not that I didn't think the movie was funny. A lot of the jokes did land, but I would say about 50% of them were just kind of just too much
too much. Oh my god. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with like characters not being developed enough. Like this movie was like what 2 hours long, but apparently they had like 4 hours of.
But like about
they
4
had a
hour.
4 hour cut, and like I feel like a lot of important stuff got cut that probably shouldn't have been cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I yeah. So like so I think I said last week that I enjoyed this more than Doctor Strange 2.
I did too.
Yeah, and I want to say right now, I want to take it back because I actually like Doctor Strange 2 more than this film.
Okay, I do not.
Yeah, so we can disagree and agree, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. Because strangely, you know why I love Shang-Chi is because I actually right away when they dropped to Disney Plus, I actually saw that, and that's why I put it at my number one in 2021. I actually did this with Doctor Strange when it was going to drop in Disney Plus in June, right? I actually did it the date when it actually did, and I actually enjoyed it more this time around because I you know what you saw after your first viewing. I like conned my expectation, and I enjoyed it more. And this one, I just didn't want to see this film ever again. Like, I don't know. I was so disappointed. Like, I love Thor Ragnarok. I knew it was never going to top it. Like, how can you? I mean, Taika Waititi is a great director. I see his films, and
he was my favorite director, and then this movie just kind of sucked.
I don't know if it was just like okay, like I get he's definitely the two biggest run in Thor comics. You know, the Mighty Thor, the God Butcher, the Thor God of Thunder storyline. But it seems like there was other things that Marvel told him they want to have, maybe like oh, we want to introduce Hercules, so we need to have Zeus here. Oh, like we need to like the Guardians thing, like we need to deal with that because that was like the thing people liked the most, and it was like they have so many these ideas, and then on top of that, Taika Waititi trying to like really want to put his personality in the film, which is fine, but I feel like he just went to the Shane Black of the third thing. Like, I'm gonna cram all your notes into this one movie, and like he just F it. Like, I'm gonna put everything in this film, and like just why? It was just a manic, just like
it was very messy.
Yeah, and go ahead. It's just
I don't know. It's like it just felt really weird, like what they decided to develop and what they didn't.
Yes,
and there's like weird choices. Like I don't know, there was a lot of stuff that like it felt obvious that like if you set this up, the audience is going to want to see this, and then they just didn't do that. Like like Jane, they like go through the whole thing of like Mjolnir like kind of like making like a magical pact to protect her, and then she's like getting sick, and she's like figuring out that the hammer might be able to help her. And then she like goes to New Asgard, and then are we gonna see her become Thor? Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a weird thing to omit. Because like I mean, obviously, like the viewers know what's about to happen. Like even ignoring like trailers and posters and stuff, like the story is telling you that that's about to happen, so you know to expect that, and you would want the scene of like it happening,
right?
But nope, it's off screen. And then in a movie with a character called Gorr the God Butcher, they
Oh my
introduced
god.
the concept of a city filled with gods who are super like arrogant and confident that they're safe. You'd
Yeah.
think that would be the prime opportunity for some god butchering.
Yes.
Because you introduce the gods as like jerks, so you'd be like, yeah, like if they got butchered, you'd be like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
like this is like not super traumatic, but still kind of like scary.
Yeah.
But nope, Gorr never even goes anywhere near the city of gods. He just kind of hangs out in the shadows.
Yeah. He was like, he's actually the shadow in this movie. Weirdly.
Yeah.
Well, and he has a different, like, he has another interesting villain plot that easily could have been the one that we should be following,
Mm-hmm.
because he has the thing with the kids, and like we don't know that he's tricking Thor to give him the Stormbreaker,
Right.
and like,
which, yeah, God, that storyline didn't make sense. Because like his whole thing is that gods like don't actually care about their worshippers, right? And then
yeah,
he kidnaps some of Thor's worshippers because he knows he's going to care, and he'll go after them. It just seems like kind of antithetical to your whole deal.
Yeah, I just like, well,
yeah,
I have a lot of questions about his sword, like the
necro sword.
Yeah, and like, is it like the Venom symbiote where it's like self-aware and like it's a living organism? Like,
I
because
think kind of like it definitely corrupts him.
yes, like I know that, but like,
Yeah,
how do you get to this plot where, oh, let me go into the eternity?
yeah. The sword does seem to like whisper to him.
Okay, and we saw that in the first scene. We see Gorr,
right,
and the opening.
Yeah, man, that opening. Gorr was, just to like get to a positive. Gorr was fantastic.
Yes,
like I would have loved to have seen him do a little more god butchering, but
yeah,
Christian Bale's performance was great, and I thought like, I mean, the performance really like elevated something that was probably like pretty good to something that was like phenomenal. But yeah, very interesting villain. I wish we could have seen more of him.
Yeah, I truly agree. This was one of my exciting part of the film was seeing Christian Bale. Of course, you and I were, we grew up with the Dark Knight trilogy and Bale being Batman, and I was so excited to see him being a Marvel movie, and just seeing what Taika and him have in store with this villain, and I was 100 completely on board with this character. Yes, I want to see more of that, but I think Bale. I think one of the things I like about this film is that this is the good example of how to do a villain by letting your actor perform, and this is a good example of that. Like, Bale kill it 100%. Like, just bringing Gorr to life and not do this like genetic thing. Like, he had pathos and just personality, which I really like. Yes, his villain plot is over the place and all that, but I think I still understood what Gorr is doing, and that wasn't inconsistent. It was consistent, and I think that was the thing that made me like this film more.
Yeah.
I mean that scene of him pleading to Thor and to protect his love, his child. It was so powerful and just like, oh my god. It's just one of the best MCU villain performance I've seen.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. I have nothing positive to say about Gorr the Butcher. I think he's amazing, and someone mentioned in the video, podcaster that I follow, he mentioned that all the Thor films. I will say the positive thing about this film. I really appreciate the Thor films now, like, thank goodness we talked about these films the last 2 years, Will.
Mm-hmm.
I actually appreciate we do focus Thor as the hero. This is something that superhero films have a problem sometimes. They will always sometimes lean into the villain side sometimes. And I appreciate that the four Thor films, no matter the problem we have with it, of the character development with Thor, like in the Thor the Dark World, or the Avengers films. Like, let's separate the Avengers films. But I think I appreciate that these films focus so much on Thor, because these films don't even focus on the villains. Like, they barely have, if you want to go into Thor Ragnarok, right? Like, you brought up, like, I like Hela, but like, she doesn't have enough scenes, and like, hasn't that character development. But like, I still remember her because of Kate Blanchett performance, and just, it's so well done, and I can forgive that. Same thing here. Like, Gorr doesn't have enough development, but it just Bale performance just hits me, like just in my seat, and just wow.
Yeah.
And I think this one of the things I think the Thor films do so well compared to some other superhero film franchise, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. With the exception of Thor the Dark World.
Yes. Let me say that right. I'm not saying. Yeah.
Although I guess that one had Loki. They did Loki well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's kind of keep this to positive. Let's get into Jane Foster. I know. I would say I was intrigued when she was coming back. I was like, okay, what they're gonna do with her, and then the whole Mighty Thor storyline. I will say this is Natalie Portman's best performance of this character. I really think the chemistry between her and Thor is way better here than the second film.
Yes.
Okay.
I definitely agree.
I was very shocked, or I was very happy how they handled the cancer and storyline. They went where they could, and I think it was acceptable, and they didn't make a joke about it, so I was happy.
Yeah. So I'm glad that of all the things that they kept making jokes about, they didn't turn that into a joke. So.
Yeah. I mean, especially me. In my situation, I was like, I think they did a really good job. I love the scene of her explain the quantitative thing, and saying that, oh, it's been done with Interstellar. Like, that was so funny. I was just laughing out loud, and I was happy to see Dorsey and Salvik.
Yeah, me too. Like, they weren't in it that much, but it felt like a natural way to include them, and I was glad that they brought them back since they were absent from Ragnarok.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, and I want to go back to your complaint about how we got Natalie Jane getting the hammer. The hammer was giving clues to her. I want to say this. She was giving.
Yeah. No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't complaining about
Okay.
the hammer. I was complaining that they just completely skipped over the scene where she gets the hammer.
Yeah,
that was my only complaint about that.
And apparently it was shot. I don't know why.
Right? Yeah, that feels like one of the scenes that they cut for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, at least I like it because I like to give Thor to see it. Like we're still keeping on Thor's perspective. Like, at least I give them that. Like, they're somewhat thinking in the story narrative, I guess. But yeah. I really enjoyed Jane this film a whole lot. I really like her journey, and that, like, the final scene with Thor say, like, I'm gonna go to my love and spend my time with her, and instead of stopping Gorr. Like that scene was my favorite, and and I don't know if you like this gag, but I did like the running gag of the cat phrase. I really enjoyed that.
I didn't.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, okay, I just thought Natalie Portman felt very awkward when she was delivering those lines.
Yeah.
It didn't feel natural. But I did like the last time, like the payoff.
Mm. Okay.
I thought that was delivered well, and that one landed for me, which is good because it's like the most important one of those.
Yeah, I agree.
But no, the first couple, it just felt very awkward, and it just didn't seem to really like fit with Jane's character. Like we haven't seen her
for a long time, 8
joke.
years.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen her like joke too much.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It felt like, oh, she's a superhero now. She has to be quippy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
But I did like the final one. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think she killed it, and I am very happy she came back. And
yeah, I should say, like, other than those lines specifically, I really liked her performance in the movie.
Yeah. Oh my god, the love montage, the romantic years montage.
Oh man, that did such a better job of establishing their relationship than the first two Thor movies did.
I know, and it's actually one of my like the most funniest scenes in the whole film. Like Thor and her like skating with the hammer. It was I was losing it. I was like, oh,
no, I really love that. Yeah.
Oh my god, I just love that, and this is where Taika did so well, and I think I think still Taika Waititi is still a great director. This film does not tell me he lost it. He actually did a good job of opening the film with Gorr. I think he was on point.
That seems so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and those two elements were the best parts about the film. The stuff with like Meek or the rock creature, whatever the name, Korg, and you know the new Asgard stuff, I just did not care for. And that's one of my biggest complaints about this film. Is just the kids and all that. Like I don't mind the kids getting the powers or towards the end, but like all that I don't care.
I want to talk about the kids getting the powers.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I didn't mind it, but like it did feel weird that the third act kind of just turned into a Kingdom Hearts game. Like I don't know how familiar you are with Kingdom Hearts.
I seen Tommy's live streams, and so I know what you're talking about. I know.
Yeah, but like older guy like whispers something to his weapon, gives it to a bunch of kids, and then they go fight with glowing like key-shaped objects and fight shadow beasts. To like get to like stop a door opening to that's like made out of light. It just really felt like the third act turned into a Kingdom Hearts like finale.
I see what you're saying. Yes, I know what you're talking about. I see those.
Yeah, it just felt like kind of out of place, and it like took me out of it. But it was like, I don't know, I liked it. I just really liked seeing Thor like with kids. I thought that was cute every time.
Yeah.
So
I don't have a problem where I appreciate that Thor is a hero and like he's like I'm seeing people saying Thor is dumb. And it's
he is dumb now. They did make him dumb.
Okay. Well, I disagree. He's just not like he's not good at planning plans, but like he doesn't do like I don't think he's kind of reverted back to his first Thor characteristic,
which I hate.
Yeah, and that's
like where and like in the first one, it just felt more like he was arrogant and like kind of hasty.
Yeah.
Whereas now he's more like he's like relaxed a bit, but he's still dumb.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating because they really, in the first few movies, it feels like if he like figures his stuff out and he can like be a little more like cool-headed, then he'll be a little like wiser and smarter. And now we have him being more like even-tempered, but he's still really slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least he is like head smart, but not like he's not like he's head smart, but just not
He's more like emotionally intelligent now.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's what I'm saying. That's perfect. Emotional intelligence, and that's what he's doing with the kids. He's just trying to calm them down.
Right. Yeah, which I do appreciate, but I want him to be like intelligent too.
Yeah.
Not like a genius, just like not dumb.
Yeah. I will say it's really tough to do this with this character who looks like a pro, like a pro jock, and
but you can just have him not like be confused by simple things, or not like oblivious to stuff.
Yeah, they always seem inconsistent with that. Like he's from like 1,000 years old, and then like he knows like because like ever since that first film, it's very dated because like we added so much on the MCU, like cosmic stuff which we didn't see. Like he knew Groot's language in Infinity War, and then this film we discovered he modeled himself from Zeus, and I was like, oh, okay,
yeah.
And then of course the gods, like it's like, ooh, like. I mean, it's like it's just crazy. Like 13 years later, it's like we got to this point. It's like the most comic book thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say another positive. I like the visuals. This is the most comic book like looking film, and I really enjoyed that. I was so happy. Like seeing the Celestials like looking like Jack Kirby again. I really like that.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my god, that scene. And then I know people don't like the dumpling creature. I like it.
I loved that. That was funny. It was just like a throwaway gag. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know why people was complaining about that. I thought it was funny, and
I thought it was funny too.
Yeah. I love to see a dragon, like a golden dragon. I just love that. It's just and a good way to set up like either we get that like Shang-Chi connected thing, like it's right there, like we're already seeing dragons, like that. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. So I guess let's get into like character developments. We discussed Jane and Gorr now. We discussed Thor a little bit. Let's get into Valkyrie. I guess let me get into that. I still like Tessa Thompson. She's still amazing, and I like everything they were like presenting in the film. I just went forward with her development, and I didn't like that she got silent and towards the end, and, but I understood why. It's like you need Thor and Jane's moment, so it makes sense. But I was very disappointed on how they did with Valkyrie. I still like that. Taika Waititi likes this character, loves this character, but I feel like this was just a step down.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Like I would have liked to have learned more about the character. Like they talked about things about her backstory, and like where she's at emotionally, but I would have liked them to spend more time on that and kind of explore her more.
Yeah. The Korg, like, it was funny when Korg was talking to her on the boat.
Yes.
And, like,
that's my favorite, like, kind of joke that Taika Waititi does, where he'll just have a character, like, blatantly explain everything that another character is feeling.
Yes.
To the point where, like, it's, like, clearly absurd. But, that always gets me.
Oh my god, yeah, I agree. And then you mentioned cuts throughout this podcast. I will mention it was weird. I guess they cut the LGBT storyline that they were they say like 3 years ago in the 2019 Comic Con, and it's kind of interesting they cut that out. But then I'm kind of like,
They did mention it, but
yeah,
it does feel like there was like a more fleshed out version of that in an earlier cut of the movie, which would have been good.
yeah, I man, like I you can easily like make a good cut with the elements you have,
Right.
like I mean, X-Men Days of Future Past has the road cut, but if you remove the road cut, it you have the pieces that makes that film great. I don't know why that they like I feel my problem is like I don't know what was the end game. Like I don't understand what Marvel Studios are trying to do with these like 2022 films. It's like cutting out these important things that is important to your story and character development. And it's
Right.
like, I just don't
Too many
understand.
things keep happening off screen.
Yeah, and the worst in these films, like at least Black Widow, I understood what was going on, and like they at least properly fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Shang-Chi. Same thing with the Eternals. Same thing with Spider-Man No Way Home. And then here, these two movies, Doctor Strange 2 and then this, is like
Yeah.
it's just
It's like they're like key character moments. They can't happen off screen.
yeah.
Like it's just like really bad storytelling.
Yeah.
It's just yeah, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean this is why, like, I hoping they don't do that with Black Panther, because
I mean they're gonna have to though, because they can't do T'Challa's death.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that could be an easy way to write in your story. I feel like I think that is fine. I'm saying more like the other characters that I like, that I want to see develop, and like they're introducing the Atlantans, which it hasn't been confirmed, but like I mean it's kind of obvious if you've seen the leaks and all that. But like I'm more concerned about that. Like I think the Boltzmann thing, I think they know what they're doing with that. It's just the other parts. It's where I'm more concerned about.
Yeah.
The more expansion universe of the MCU is where I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and then getting to I would say I dislike Korg now. I don't want Korg anymore.
There's too much of him in this movie.
Yeah.
I think he would have been better if he'd stayed in New Asgard and he was just like a bit character.
Yeah. Like, where's Meek? Like, Meek should be there. Like,
Meek was there a little bit.
Yeah, but like, why you need to tag along with Korg? I thought they were buddies.
I think Korg should have just been with Meek the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the same amount of screen time as Meek.
Yeah. I was like,
yeah.
This almost like I was quite concerned, like when presumably you knew Korg was gonna die from that lightning, and then they do this like pull the rug, like, oh no, he's alive. I was like, really? Like,
yeah.
Oh my god! I was like, wow, we're doing that. I was like, okay. So, yeah, very disappointing. Like, I like Korg from the third film, but then this, it was just like, I don't know. But what are you gonna do? So, we haven't brought up the other character besides. I mean, we have one big star here, Russell Crowe, Zeus, and what's your opinion on that? I love it. It was so funny.
I didn't.
Oh really? Oh my god.
Okay. His accent was really over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know, making the character like a joke felt weird. Because like it's Zeus, you know.
Yeah, I
yeah, I don't know. And then I just don't understand like is Omnipotent City from the comics or?
Yes,
Okay,
it's
I'd
from the
never heard of
comics.
that before, and I was just
Okay,
surprised that they weren't in Olympus.
yeah,
But
yeah,
all right.
yeah. Um, so this is from this is actually part from the Gorr God Butcher storyline.
Okay, did he butcher gods in the city in the comics? Because that
No, it's
huh.
it's weird. It's completely different storyline from
Yeah.
the comic book.
Yeah.
It's Thor goes to Innovative City to like in the first Lord of the Rings when Gandalf goes to the library.
Rivendell.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. It's like that. Thor goes to there. He goes to this like ancient library of sorts
Mm-hmm.
in Limited City to search for the like the old gods or like the gods that are hidden and all that like left to
Mm-hmm.
see who's going to be the next target for Gorg. That was
Okay.
the purpose of that city. Here they did it differently. They did this more like new gods, like like the new gods from Jack Kirby from the
Yeah.
DC. It's
Yeah.
like that in this movie than what it is from the comics. It's just weird. Yeah. So yeah, it's from the comics, but they totally like turned it into something different.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the Zeus. I mean, I did laugh when he like did the pull the skirt and then looked out. It was so funny. And I mean, yeah, the his like accent was weird. I know he was saying he was trying to do that Greek,
Like a
like
Greek accent. Yeah.
yeah,
It felt like he was doing an accent.
yeah,
And like, I don't know.
yeah. But I mean, still, when he talks to Thor about like, oh, we're safe and like, the thing.
Yeah,
like.
it just really felt like they were like tempting Gorr with that, and then
Mhm.
nothing came of it.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
felt like a weird
detour.
like writing choice to make it to just make them seem like super arrogant and like overly confident that they're safe, and then to have like a character who is named the God Butcher.
Yeah.
Just not to connect those dots at all.
I no, I understand. I like the scene. This is my favorite part of the film because it supports Gore's motivation and his argument. Um, like the execution of this is not good, but like it supports his point of view of the gods being greedy and very jerks and selfish, and this whole scene sounds like that. But I just wish it was more part of the conversation afterwards.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's a lot of this movie that I think like the ideas were good, but the execution wasn't.
yeah,
which is how I felt about Doctor Strange too.
Yeah. I don't want to talk too much about that film. I will say, I, oh man, it's real tough. I think the film there was more focused, but I disagree with the creative decisions. This movie is completely unfocused, all over the place, but a focus on his main character, which I do disagree with its creative decisions. That's how I feel right now. Just, it's like what's that test? Like the pension test. Like you hit the 400. Like it's like up and down, up and down. It's just literally like that. This film. It's like it's oh my god. It's like it's like a bipolar experience. So like you cannot say in one position and like it's just oh my god, it's so hectic. It's like crazy. I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah, and I want to get into. I mean, I will say I was happy that Zeus didn't die, and I'm
the post-credit scenes were great.
Yeah, that one was great, and I like where we're gonna go with Thor 5.
Right.
Whatever we go there.
I hope we go there.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go there. I mean, Hercules is like the last Avenger member we have to introduce, you know, because we already introduced like Black Knight, Cersei, Monica, White Vision, and I mean Vision, but the White Vision, other, you know, yada, and then Hercules, and so yeah, I'm pretty excited. Yeah,
we got Brett Goldstein.
Yes, from Ted Lasso, right?
Yeah.
I say my my friend I went to, like, she streamed because she's seen Ted Lasso, so she was very excited.
I was very excited.
Okay, and he looks like Hercules.
He is. Yeah.
So I'm very excited for that, and that's going to be the greatest superhero battles we're going to see in film. So I'm so excited for that. But yeah, and we can get into the mid credit scene, or the post credit scene of Jane going to Van Halla, right?
Yeah.
And then to meet, like, I like it. It was sweet to see her and Minnie Handel again. I was surprised to see Abba coming back. Good scene. I don't know if they're like setting up, you know, her coming back, but like I think it was a good touchy scene.
Yeah. It did feel like they were setting up those characters coming back, which did kind of feel like it cheapened the movie. But if they're not doing that, and that's the last time we see those characters, I think that was a very sweet, like, farewell to them.
Yeah. I mean, Marvel is famous to do that. I mean, like, how many times Loki died, and it's like, oh, you're like, oh,
yeah,
and we have another version that's out there. So, I mean, it's crazy. What else we haven't discussed? I think we cover everything.
Yeah, I guess my favorite scene we haven't talked about yet.
Oh yes,
which was the scene in the I don't know what they called it. The Shadow World or the Shadow Realm or whatever, where everything's in black and white and they're on like the tiny planetoid. I thought that was great. I thought it looked great. There's a lot of fun, like, tension happening.
Yes.
Gorr was being really creepy.
Yeah.
It was just a great sequence.
Yeah, same here. This was my favorite, and this is where I think Gorr was really shine in the film, is this scene, and just see him like being creepy and just also hearing like his loss and then Terminating Thor to get Stormbreaker back to the Shadow Realm so he can use it. Like all that was just wonderful, and Jane seeing that it was a trap. I love that, and it's just like it was just so intense. I just love it. One thing I do question, I wasn't thinking about this. I saw this like a chat for another YouTube. Stormbreaker, like, how could Gorr carry it if like?
Well, I don't know if Stormbreaker has the same enchantment as Mjolnir.
Okay, that's a good point. Like, because the hammer, the first has the enchantment from Olin, so but okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. I'm not used to seeing like that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, because that was one I was like, huh, how he's carrying this, but makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to say two other nitpicks. Let's get into other nitpicks. The Guardians. I want to say that I think we kind of knew they were not going to be in this movie enough. But I did like the amount we saw with Peter Quill.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy Chris Pratt performance there, and I really like
Yeah.
the relationship there.
Yeah, I liked seeing Peter as more of like a more mature, like confident leader.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. I don't know. I really liked the opening sequence. That was like a good level of campy for me.
Yeah. Yes.
And then it kind of got off the rails, or yeah, like them fighting the like Muppet looking owl monsters.
Yeah.
That was just fun. It was just a
Yeah.
fun
Yeah.
like scene.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. And then when we get to the like, oh, I'm sorry to break your temple. I was like, no, why you're mentioning it like that? I was like, really?
yeah, that was like that
Yeah.
was like the sign of things to come. But
Yeah.
yeah, the actual like fight scene and all the stuff with the Guardians, that was good.
Okay. The goats. We haven't mentioned that.
Yeah,
What's your opinion about the goats?
they didn't annoy me, but they stopped being funny at a certain point, but they never flipped over to being like annoying for me at least. I could see why they would be for other people.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. I love like it was very funny when they crash into the shadow realm, and then the goats scream like that was funny. And then oh my god, and this is where like I was very disappointed with Sif. Like
Yeah,
I
at least they didn't kill her. Like Taika seems to really hate Thor's supporting cast, so I was glad that they let her live again.
yeah. Well, thank goodness she has her fans, and we're saying no, don't kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, her joking about like, oh, I'm going to Valhalla, and then I mean, oh, it was a funny scene for me. Like I actually laugh out loud at this. Like, like, oh, you had to die, like heroically in the battle, and you just lost your arm, and she said the S word, like, it was funny. But yeah, I was very disappointed, and like she had the comic book accurate costume from the comics, and I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
it's just.
I think my ideal Thor 5 would be Thor, Sif, and Valkyrie fighting Hercules and a few other like Greek heroes. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be awesome. Oh god. Yeah, or just put Sif in another franchise. Like I definitely want to see her either like maybe like put her as a side character for Eternals, because it's weird that we haven't yet introduced Beta Ray Bill in this franchise, and like I feel like maybe we should like introduce him in another franchise.
Yeah.
So or Guardians. I think she would be good with Guardians. So
yeah, I don't know. I feel like James Gunn wouldn't want to use Beta Ray Bill, but
yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, I think I think we covered everything. I will say Thor: Love and Thunder is very. I think a slow tier for me. I think it's. Yeah. I mean, I'll put this above the first Thor. I'll definitely put it as second highest. I don't know. Okay. I'm like tossing up like either to do that or like I'll put it as my third favorite Thor film, and then the second is the first, and then my favorite Thor film is the third.
That's my ranking. Okay. But I know that I have like a particular soft spot for the first Thor movie. But yeah, I think I enjoyed the first one more than this. And then this
just
this was better than The Dark World.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean,
I don't know. Not by that much for me though.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like okay, like I mean this doesn't have Loki, but The Dark World has Loki, and it's like I mean surprisingly I didn't miss Loki, so I was
it is good that it didn't feel like he was missing.
Yeah.
It just felt like it still felt like a Thor movie even without him.
Yeah. I did appreciate the tattoo he had with Loki in mind.
Yeah.
I did like that. Yeah, it's tough ranking for these 4 Thor films. it's so, man, it's crazy. And in terms of favorite movies of this Phase 4, I definitely Shang-Chi, and then I'll put Black Widow second, and then third Strange, and then I'll put Eternals fourth, and then I put this fifth, and then last will be No Way Home, I guess. I put No Way Home fourth, and then fifth Eternals. This would be sixth.
Okay.
So this would be dead last, I would say.
Okay. I think I liked this more than I liked Eternals or Black Widow.
Okay. Yeah.
But not by much.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just
Yeah. Go ahead.
It was more fun to watch this than it was to watch Eternals and Black Widow.
Yeah.
I think it was just as messy as Black Widow. And Multiverse of Madness is at the bottom for me.
Okay. I at least I think like that movie didn't do character assassins like this movie did. Like, in TV you have this character assassination of your favorite character after.
I mean, it did that to Wanda for me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I disagree with the creative decisions. It's like that. I don't know. I think it's because Elizabeth Olsen performance overrides it.
Her performance is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, man. It could have if they just. It's the same thing as with this movie. I like all of the story beats. It's just the execution was really bad, and it was atrocious in Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I could have loved that storyline for Wanda, but they really just fell on their face. They really butchered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I think of this. Despite me not liking Wanda turning to the villain, I just like we spent time with the villain in the film, where Gorr, the God Butcher, we don't do that. And
yeah, we did a little bit. I think the only thing that was missing from Gorr was seeing him actually kill more gods.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't violent. It's just weird. They cut this gold blood and or this furry.
I liked that. I really liked the opening.
Yeah,
but we needed more scenes like that to show that he was actually a threat.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just and then the reason I put this in the bottom for me is at least for me, I appreciate its message of love and thunder, all that, but I feel sometimes it doesn't focus on that enough in the film, and where stuff like Eternals, despite how boring and dull you guys think of it,
Eternals. Yeah, Eternals from a filmmaking perspective and a storytelling perspective, leagues ahead of this movie.
Yeah,
but it's just so boring.
Yeah, and
whereas this one was fun. It felt like a. Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt. It was fun, but kind of empty.
Yeah.
Whereas Eternals was very full, but very boring.
Yeah, yeah, and speaking of production value, like, cool boy, this like looked very shaky in terms of CGI, and like Jane's helmet and doors was very weird.
Mm.
Like like and they used the was it the volume that was created by
Mm-hmm.
the Mandal
Yeah.
I don't know what's like. I get you're doing the co restrictions, but like I just think this is just like what is going on here? It's just so bad.
Yeah.
I just yeah um yeah yeah. So I think we covered everything well, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, I think covered everything. I mean, I guess one thing we'll rep right now is the Thor has a child. I mean, he's going to take care of Love.
Mm-hmm.
I do appreciate that we got the titles in the end and like it's Love and Thunder. I appreciate that. I like that. I'm curious where we're gonna do with the child and all that, and Thor being a father, but
Yeah, we'll see.
are you with that idea, Will?
I could see it being good. Like again, like I really liked seeing Thor interact with the children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's like his character really shines when he's like trying to be like an inspiration to the children. So I think it could be good, and it could also teach the character like more about like maturity and stuff, and responsibility.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And I was shocked to see Thor return. Um, I mean, we did set up Hercules, but like
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, he's so far the OG original Avengers from Phase One still going.
Yeah,
It's
and then
crazy.
well, Hulk's still around.
Oh. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but a different
Yeah,
person. It's weird.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hawkeye could still show up somewhere,
yeah,
I suppose.
yeah. But yeah, very awkward. Well, yeah. Well, Will, was a fun podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
And of course, next week we have San Diego Comic Con. So our next podcast will be that. And then I think after that we should do like a podcast on Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think
Okay.
could be awesome. So we plan for that because our next show we're going to discuss is She-Hulk, and that is coming out in August 17th. So so we got plenty to wait to discuss other Marvel things. So that's good. So, but thank you everyone for listening to this podcast. Me and we'll be back for next week for the San Diego Marvel news related things, and hopefully it'll be exciting, like just like 2019, 3 years ago. So, just watch out for these new podcasts for Miss Marvel episode 6 and Thor: Love and Thunder spoiler podcast later this week. Have a good weekend, everyone.